This is my 1995 Alpina B3 coupe that I bought at an auction back in September of 2024. You now join me 4 months later. Today is the 3rd of February, and today was meant to be a really exciting day. Why? Well, today was meant to be the day a transporter would come to collect the Alpina, take it away to a welder, and get all the rust you see around you finally sorted. But the keen-eyed amongst you might have noticed there's no trailer in sight. Don't worry, all will be revealed by the end of this video. But stay tuned, because I'm going to take you on a journey to tell you everything about how we ended up where we are today. From how I got my hands on this Alpina, how we got it transported down, how we first got it started, and exactly every bit of work done to it so far. Not to mention, of course, every single penny we've spent on it up until this point. And with that in mind, let's rewind to September 28, 2024.
Any more bids now? Here then at 5,000. It's against you online, against my earlier telephone, against you on the sale room, but here at 5,000. Your car, sir, 5,000.
It's an Alpina B3, 3 litre from 1995. I've bid on it, I've won the bid, and I've got to figure out how to take this home, how to pay for it, and how to get it back on the road. But here's what it looks like today on the day of auction, 28th of September 2024. Try and start it. We've got my 325 charging this. Should we see what happens?
Yep.
10 years.
Nothing.
The starter works.
Wait.
The starter works. It needs more battery. It needs more power. So what have we done, Thanos? We've connected your Jag, 3 litre diesel.
Lovely vehicle.
To the Alpina's, directly to the Alpina's lines.
Seems safe.
Taking the battery out. I'm wearing a high-vis jacket for safety.
Only.
Now, the lighting is electric. Should we try a start? I don't know what's going to happen. It's not going to start, though.
We'll give it a go.
They said it wasn't going to start. Right, 3 clicks. Ready? 3, 2, 1.
Woo! That's a happy man.
Engine!
Engine.
It lives.
Old fuel, no coolant.
We've now paid for the car, sorted out transport, got it started for the first time, and handed it over to BMW specialist mechanics, Munich legends, to give it the full inspection. I've got the report here, let me find it. What do they say? Oh, here it is. But hey, at least they've chucked in a fresh new BMW battery, so we no longer need a diesel Jaguar V6 to start it. My friend Thanos, who you guys met on the last episode, don't forget to watch that video. It's linked up in the card above or in the description below. And he actually got to tinker with the car, running a few tests, a compression test, a ball scope, and also an exhaust leak test, all of which came out pretty positive. So we're pretty confident that the engine in this Alpina is sound. But the one key issue we did notice, and this was a major failure point on the last MOT test, which went through in 2016, was that the car can't hold its temperature, it overheats. A pretty typical E36 thing, to be fair. So of course I had to get genuine BMW parts. On the 31st of October, Halloween, I marched myself to Vine's BMW of Red Hill, their parts counter, and collect a whole lot of sweet, shiny new parts. Talking thermostat, radiator, coolant hoses, clutch, fan. I'm missing something. Oh, and the water pump, as well as a whole bunch of new fresh fluid to completely renovate the cooling system of this Alpina. Fast forward a couple of weeks, it's now November. A buddy of mine called Khaled comes in alongside Thanos to help sort out the cooling system, and now the Alpina can hold its temperature steady, meaning all we need to do now is everything else that puts it to shame. The Alpina now runs, drives, and keeps its temperature. The only issue is the temperature gauge doesn't actually work, so we need a temperature gun to make sure the engine keeps the right sort of temperature. But listen to it. Let's just give it a little check, shall we? Yep, that seems nice and correct. Ooh, right. All seems to be okay. I suppose all that's left to do now is give you a little tour of every little imperfection this car has before we finish up the video and talk about every single penny I've spent on it so far. Starting with the Alpina front spoiler. Unfortunately, because the car's been lowered, it's scraped really bad on the transporter getting here, which means this just looks like absolute junk. Also, why have I still got the engine running? Let's switch that off and just make this audio a little bit clearer, maybe? Isn't that better? God. Of course, where the rubber meets the road, the tyres, quite an important part of a car, wouldn't you agree? They're all really perished, really cracked. Surprisingly, they've all got a lot of tread on them, but unfortunately, these were made over 15 years ago in 2010, and they have got to go. On the bright side, the alloys, they've been refurbished and look lovely. Not by me, the previous owner did that, I guess. Then we come to some of the worst sills I've ever seen on any car. These are royally f***ed, and I've got a little tool just to show you how they actually are. On the bright side, these are just looking pretty good nick. On the downside, someone's put horrifically awful lowering springs on the back, and this is just not the vibe. Actually, no, there is also definitely rust on this side too. Never mind. Then we turn our attention to the boot, where when we open it up, you'll see what used to be a whole section of metal is now just this void full of cornflakes. And by cornflakes, I mean rusty bits of, well, rust. I'm not going to touch that. I think I'm going to get diseased. But this whole back end is all orange and crusty. I've got a feeling that this can't be saved, but instead just to cut off this whole back section, graft on a brand new section, and call it a day. Oh, could you hear that? God. Right, so I know the interior looks stripped and bare. That's not actually a problem. We did this on purpose. The whole point was to reveal the atrocities that could be lurking underneath, and to be fair to it, the car's held up pretty well. The transmission tunnel and the rest of the floor is in one piece, but clearly some water has seeped into the interior, soaked into the carpet, which means we do see some rust across, especially on this side, the passenger side. And if I get my stick of truth, here she is, you'll see that's a hole. But it's only a drain plug, so it's not the end of the world. Bear with me. I reckon just here. Okay. Oh. Right. So you've seen the good and the bad, how we got the car, what we've done to it so far, and I suppose potentially what's going to happen next, or at least in your minds you've got an idea. But I promised you at the beginning of this video, just catching my breath, that I was going to talk you through why the car isn't going in for welding today, and to go through every single penny I've spent on it so far. So first of all, a little story as to why the car's not on a transporter somewhere to Surrey right now. An interesting one. I had it booked a couple of months ago with a friend of a friend, or at least a friend of mine who had some welding done at this person's business. So it came from a recommendation. I thought, well, surely if they've had a good experience, they'll look after me too. They quoted me a pretty reasonable sum, I thought, £7,500 plus VAT, so about 9 grand to my pocket to get all the bits of rust done. He said to me not a single bit of rust will be left on the car. Now, of course, I'm well versed with restoring classic cars, and I know that you'll always find some more work and the bill will eventually go up. what we didn't quite appreciate was the fact that as they are a small business and the amount of work that was required, there was a substantial amount of money that was required up front. Now, this wasn't actually brought to my attention until about 3 days before the car was about to go in. So Friday, I've received a text saying, by the way, you are paying me 50% before we let the car in. And I thought, oh, this is a bit of a shock to the system. It wasn't really about the money, just kind of the fact that it would be nice if I was informed about this earlier. So for the time being, I'm going to have to block things off. He hasn't got another free slot until May, which means I have to figure out what else I can do to the car and get it progressed while we wait. Anyway, here is the folder of truth, and we'll go through exactly every penny we've spent on it. Of course, we've got seagulls, but we're going to persevere regardless. So you saw at the beginning of the video, we had the auction. I won the bid at £5,000. They do charge a fee of whatever percentage it was, which totaled £6,050 exactly. That's with fees. Then we had to get the car transported down to the Legends of Munich, that is Munich Legends. That was about 350 quid. The battery, I've got the invoice here, £184.57, that's with fitting and with VAT. Starting to add up now. I then got a thermostat gasket, which was a total of £9.55, not the end of the world. And of course, the radiator, thermostat, water pump, fan clutch, hoses, and the actual fan itself. £1,028.16. Add that all up together, what are we at? About sort of 6,300, 6,300, 400, 6,500, £7,500. £7,500. If we got it welded, that would have been another 9 grand on top. So we're at 16 grand, but realistically, that's going to go up. So who knows how much we end up spending on this car. But I want it to be in the best possible condition it can be. So for now, we're going to end the video here. And of course, you want to stay tuned, right, with what's going on. So make sure you subscribe and follow the journey. It might be a while before we post our next video, but I'm thinking we either get the car welded up next, or hopefully instead get something mechanical done to the car, get the engine working, get the suspension sat right, and then potentially get the welding done. Just depends on what slots we can get booked next. Thanks for watching. Hopefully we'll see you on the next one. My wallet will never recover from this. Oh God.